Hi Dad! Hello everyone and welcome to Weary Lore. Welcome back to my Urban Legends of America series. Today we're going to talk about urban legends from Arkansas. You have no idea how tempted I was to say Arkansas. Bad joke. Probably. So, I know that I said that Arizona was filled with ghosts, but that was before I knew Arkansas existed. No, wait. I knew Arkansas existed. I just didn't know its urban legends or what filled with ghosts could really mean. Filled with ghosts really means that there aren't any urban legends that don't revolve around ghosts in some way, shape, or form. I really tried to find some, trust me, but after reading what felt like 100 ghost stories, I gave in. So let's get into it. 3 ghost stories centered around urban legends from Arkansas. The first urban legend that I'm going to introduce you to really drew me in because it was so preposterous that there was actual proof of a ghost haunting a building. Kind of. No, I'm not talking about unexplainable noises or cold spots that have been debunked in other haunted buildings over and over again. This is something much more unusual and something I don't know if anyone has actually tried to explain. But the legend. There is a problem at the Desha County Courthouse. It has nothing to do with the building or the land. It has everything to do with a curse. A curse laid upon it in the early 1900s by a wrongly convicted man. Or, at least, that's what he wanted everyone to believe. There was once a man named Willard, a nickname who some believe to have been attributed to one Jim Williams. Now, Willard, he was a gambling man, but not a good one. After losing a substantial amount of money, he went into a fit of rage. He decided to take his rage out on the hotel, burning it to the ground. But that wasn't enough for him, and more buildings burned before he was caught and brought to the Desha County Courthouse for sentencing. He was found guilty, and keep in mind, this was over 100 years ago. He didn't get a slap on the wrist or a massive fine. He was sentenced to be hung. This hanging was carried out right on the lawn of the Desha County Courthouse. Willard did not go quietly. Like the witches from Hocus Pocus, he spoke into being a curse as he stood under the noose. He swore to his innocence and said that he would prove it by making sure that the clock on the courthouse would never keep the correct time again. Then he hung, and the clock has never been the same. Even if this clock is repaired, if it is reset to the right time, it does not function properly. Sometimes it chimes incessantly all night when it's not supposed to. Sometimes it doesn't chime at all. It also has the strange habit of skipping forward an hour every night. Even after the clock was removed and repaired 12 times, this behavior continued. After the 12th time, the clockmaker said he couldn't guarantee to fix the clock, as it was haunted. Then electric clocks came out. That had to fix it, right? The clock on the clock tower was replaced with an electric clock and all was good. No. The same issues persisted, though new ones have been added. Sometimes the hour hand reads the minute, sometimes the minute hand reads the hour, and at no time is the clock actually reliable. So just rely on your cell phone, right? Surely that's fine. Nope. Employees have even reported the clocks on their personal watches and phones malfunctioning. My. Willard being called a menace is really a fitting name, huh? On top of all the time interference, the courthouse is also considered just haunted by a ghost. Is it Willard? Well, they're not sure. Some think it is, some think it's a female. But what do you think? Was Willard innocent? Is there any way to fix the clock? Like my past videos, I put the urban legends in this video up to a panel for choosing. However, I chose this urban legend myself because I found it so interesting. It wasn't just unreliable eyewitness accounts of foggy figures or hearsay passed down from generation to generation. There's actual physical, real-life implications of this urban legend. I found it extremely fascinating. Could there be an explanation? Yes, magnetic interference would probably be way up there on the list. But that's not what I'm looking for here. I just want to be a little spooked and very enthralled, and that's what this urban legend did for me. Willard and the Desha County Courthouse, you get an A rating. Let's see if the other two urban legends from Arkansas live up to the first. Our next urban legend is extremely popular and extensively debunked. Maybe. I actually saw this urban legend for the first time on Unsolved Mysteries when I was a kid. I wasn't as fascinated by the supernatural and unknown then as I am now, so I didn't look into it any further than what was presented to me. There was a light that appeared and disappeared at the top of a railroad track, and it was caused by the headlights of passing cars on the highway. Have you figured out which one I'm talking about yet? The Gurdon light is a little more complicated than the previous explanation made it out to be. Putting aside that some locals claim the highway is too far away for the lights of passing cars to be seen on the railroad track, there's the stories that say the Gurdon light began before the highway was even built. Upwards of 2 decades before Interstate 30 was built in 1957, there were sightings of the Gurdon light. So, what is it? The Gurdon light is an atmospheric ghost light located near railroad tracks in a wooded area of Gurdon, Arkansas. It can be white or blue or even orange, but there is a couple things that people agree on about the light. It is a floating, bobbing light, as if that of a lantern being held by a person, and it disappears when you get close to it. There are many versions of the legend of how the light originated. What these versions seem to agree on is that it happened sometime in the 1930s. So let's go back to the 1930s. It is December 1931. A foreman with the Missouri Pacific Railroad is having an argument with one of his employees. The foreman, William McLean, is trying to explain to his employee, Lewis McBride, that they simply do not have the option to give him more hours to work. It was the Depression, after all. Jobs and hours were hard to come by. Feels kind of familiar. Lewis did not take the news well. He attacked William and ended his life in a very brutal way. It was shortly after this that the Gurdon light first appeared, but that's just one version of the story. In others, it's a railway worker who fell and was decapitated that now walks the tracks looking for his head. Or a passerby that tripped in the woods and fell onto the tracks, losing their life. Anyway it goes, this is a ghost in search of something, be it closure or their missing head. I'm interested in the Gurdon light not for its supernatural explanations. No, I'm more interested because of what could naturally be causing it. I've always thought that swamp gas and phantom lights were interesting, because they seem like little bits of magic in our world that are completely explainable. So, be the swamp gas or the result of piezoelectricity, I think it's fascinating. The legends accompanying it, not so much. A ghost born of accident or murder, I don't find these stories very interesting, so it will drag down the score a little. I'm going to place the Gurdon light at a C ranking. Still, a solid showing. Passing. Our last urban legend seems to skirt the line of not being an urban legend. There are urban legends that surround this geological area, but what the actual geological site is known. Kind of. I feel like I say that a lot. The Plum Bayou Mounds are a fascinating archaeological site that hold a wealth of knowledge about a little-known Native American tribe. The Plum Bayou people lived in Arkansas from 650 to 1050 AD. While there, they built a civilization, a religious center that was formally arranged in mounds around a rectangular open area. It was used for religious and social activities. They were the first people to have centers like this in Arkansas, up until they disappeared. no trace of where they went or why they left. What they did leave was the Plum Bayou Mounds, and these mounds are a constant source of fascination for archaeologists and fans of the supernatural alike. So, what's the urban legend? It's quite simple. As I said before, the Plum Bayou people just disappeared. They never reappeared anywhere else, and the reasoning behind their culture suddenly falling off the map isn't known. It's like Roanoke, but with Native Americans and no mysterious word leaving an indecipherable clue. Another part of the urban legend is the misidentification of the Plum Bayou Mounds. For years, they were called the Toltec Mounds, believed to be a relic of the Mexican Toltec or Aztec tribes. But what seems to give people the most heebie-jeebies is that these mounds serve different purposes, and at least one of them is considered to be a burial mound. Of course, imaginations go wild and stories spread about the area being haunted. I have to admit, if this is where an entire Native American tribe disappeared, either from natural or unnatural circumstances, I wouldn't be surprised if it is haunted. These hauntings vary from person to person. Some people claim to see nothing more than orbs around the mounds, flitting about as if an unnatural presence. Personally, orb evidence of hauntings is just not it for me. There's too many natural explanations for orbs. Others claim to hear noises or footsteps of people who aren't there. But most frighteningly, there are even claims of hooded, ghostly figures making their way between the mounds, especially near the burial mound. They have also been seen performing some type of unknown ceremony, but I only found one report of that. Overall, this urban legend falls in a strange in-between for me. It's an annex where legend and urban legend, absolute fact and questionable theories all meet. That's why I started this by saying that this urban legend almost doesn't feel like an urban legend. But I wouldn't know what to categorize it as if not an urban legend. It's a conundrum, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. On the other hand, it absolutely fascinated me. I fell down a rabbit hole of research into the Plum Bayou Native American tribe. I had never heard of them, I had never seen any artifacts from their culture, and I definitely didn't know that they had just up and vanished. But even after vanishing, they left their mark on the world in a near permanent way. If this was another video on disappearances of cultures and the relics they left behind, the Plum Bayou Mounds would hover at an S rank for me. But as an urban legend, it falls a bit. I don't think that I can give it anything more than a B rating. But that's not bad. More than passing for every urban legend in Arkansas. This state was more than interesting to research, if just for the fact that I had never been able to read upwards of 50 ghost stories from one area in such record time. But what do you think? Did I miss a good urban legend from Arkansas? Was I too hard on the ones I reported on? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a like, and if you really liked it, press that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.